Alright. Gonna drive over to the 99-cent store. Dollar store for some of you. To get some supplies for this van build I'm doing. I need paper towels and whatnot. And on the way, I thought I would talk to you about this thing that happened. Just something I'm interested in. Yeah, I see you. So, I recently rewatched the film Basquiat, which I highly recommend. Great flick. For me personally, it's a big deal because when I was a kid, I would go into the city, New York City a lot. Early to mid 80s, cut school and whatnot, go up there with friends, walk through the park and all that. That was a wild time. So if you did that at that time and you watched that film Basquiat, it's gonna be very familiar to you. It was kind of dangerous and whatnot. I remember going to CBGB's once and didn't even want to go inside just because it looked kind of way too sketchy, even for me. Anyhow, he used to do this thing where he'd write stuff up. There's a lot of graffiti all over the place. I can't say I specifically remember a Basquiat quote on the wall, but he wasn't the only one doing it. Him and his buddies were doing it. They were signing things with SAMO, S-A-M-O, with a crown. And they portray that in the film. So this morning I was kind of farting around on YouTube and I saw this story by his childhood friend. I think he might be the character portrayed by Benicio del Toro in the film. Anyhow, he had this newspaper from when they were in high school together. Jean Basquiat, he wrote this article, and it's the origins of SAMO. It comes from SAMO, like same old thing. And it was just street slang, but then he wrote this fictionalized story, which I'm going to link to this video later. So if you see it now and the link's not there, you'll find it later. So come back and revisit it. The article's really funny because it's like him going into an office and trying to buy into a new religion. And the guy, they talk about SAMO, and it's really the philosophy of that fake religion created by stoned 17-year-olds is hysterical. And they say once a week you go and you have a piece of yarn put across your eyebrows to symbolize the wool being pulled over your eyes. Very, very hip, smart, with it thought process for, again, stoned 17-year-olds. Anyhow, you guys might remember I used to hang out with a guy who goes by SABO, S-A-B-O. Street artist, and this is one of the whole reasons why I initially was kind of into what he was doing in Los Angeles in 2015 or so. I started seeing this art popping up, all street art, which is something I loved about New York City. We're going up La Brea, by the way, here in Los Angeles, and he did some really funny things. He's a conservative street artist, so a lot of you wouldn't agree with what he puts out there, and I don't agree with everything, but he does it, and there's not a lot of people doing that sort of thing. He did this really funny one with Barack Obama where he had a real picture of Obama from when he was young with that pimp hat smoking a joint, and he put this picture on the mailboxes around Los Angeles, said it was for tax day, so you bitches better have my money. It was fucking hysterical. Then he did this Ted Cruz one. Whether you were a fan of Ted Cruz or not, it was Ted Cruz's head with a cigarette coming out of his mouth on a younger, more muscled body covered in tattoos that were all conservative tattoos. Very good image. I remember seeing that going, I want to steal one of those. And then a friend of mine who's a badass, special ops dude, was on leave, and he came and stayed with me for a couple weeks, and he was texting with SABO, and we were walking down Melrose one day, and he's like, hey, you want to meet SABO? I didn't even know who he was, really. He's like, the Ted Cruz poster. Oh yeah. So the next day we met him, and that's how that whole friendship began. And that was my initial kind of I don't know if I could think of the word, but I had a love for the guy, just more for what he was doing. And I think street art can be a fun and amazing thing, and just reminds me of being a young person, and watching that film makes me want to get more back into doing art myself. So just putting that out there. Watch that film Basquiat. and watch the link I'm going to put down here. If you're into that sort of thing, this might not be for a lot of you people. This is way off content for a lot of the stuff I normally share, but just something on my mind. Thought maybe you guys can get something out of it. This is such a sketchy place to drive, man. Anyhow, have a good day. Be good to one another, and don't text and drive. Try not to be too distracted. I'll see you next time.